The fact that the Bharatiya Janata Party is at 240, and if you cumulatively amalgamate the three general elections of the Congress Party, even cumulatively they're below us. If you take the entire INDI alliance and their numbers, below us. But I want to also say that this is the same opposition that criticize exit polls, criticize EVMs, criticize everything in the process of a democracy. So Prime Minister Modi post 1962 is the only Prime Minister to come back to office 3 times in a row. One thing we learn in Bharatiya Janata Party is be disciplined cadre. It is always nation first, party next, individual last. We weren't the ones who split parties. My son used to joke with me and tell me that, Mom, I want Rahul Gandhi to win so that you leave all of this and come home and are with me and be with me. But obviously they do understand that I like it, and that's why.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Statesman Talk with me, Deepti J. Verma. Today I'm being joined by Shaina NC, who's the national spokesperson of the BJP. She's also been a fashion designer, a philanthropist, and a quintessential Bombay girl. And thank you for joining us, Shaina.
Thank you, Dipti, and thank you, Statesman.
I'm going to start with how you got into politics. Your father was a renowned jurist, if I'm not mistaken, and the sheriff of Bombay, but you studied fashion in New York. Was that your first taste with public space?
Actually, fashion was never my first choice. I always wanted to be a lawyer or a journalist or a politician. Even in my growing years, being an avid debater, I was cut out to be somebody in public life. Having said that, at the age of 18, I started my stint with fashion. And like most people would, my mother had a business, and in those days, the brand was really big, and I filled in for her. And like others, I tried to make few clothes. And suddenly, I made so much money at such a young age that I realized that fashion was a great option for me as a profession. Went on to FIT. I didn't realize that I have this talent in my hand to drape a sari so fast, and it was
Apparently
God-given.
54 ways, that's what the
Yes.
internet says.
54 styles of draping a sari, 12 seconds at max. And absolutely, it was like God had given me this magic in my hand. So I focused on my career, continued in the industry. It's been 33 years now. And Shaina NC Golden Thimble is the brand. And I clearly knew that fashion is my profession, but politics was always my passion. So my husband and me, who were dating each other from college days, he always said that I know that she'll enter politics at some stage. Got married young at 22. I was engaged 23, married, had my daughter at 27, joined politics at 31, and then had my
2004
son.
you joined,
Yeah, so it's been 20 years in politics. So to sum it up, I always say fashion is my profession and politics is my passion.
Talking of politics, right now, and you're the national spokesperson of the BJP, I'm sure it's a tough spot to defend, they didn't get the numbers that they were expecting, you think, in the country?
You know, I would be in a spot if I was defending the indefensible. But if you look at this victory, it's historic, Dipti. The fact that the Bharatiya Janata Party is at 240, and if you cumulatively amalgamate the three general elections of the Congress Party, even cumulatively they're below us. If you take the entire INDI alliance and their numbers, even cumulatively they're below us. So Prime Minister Modi post
Has nothing to
1962.
defend, do you think?
1962 is the only prime minister to come back to office 3 times in a row. And in a country as diverse as India, with so many complexities and so many different viewpoints, I think the 140 crore Indians have reposed their faith.
Do you think
in a
elections
man.
are getting tougher like
Yes, I would definitely say tougher, only because
Of
we
digital
haven't
media?
pulled out. No, we haven't pulled out of caste dynamics, which is sad. So if you look objectively at the Bharatiya Janata Party, the vote share has only increased. There are so many constituencies where we've lost by couple hundred votes, and you never see that in a Lok Sabha election. So I would say
they're
yes.
getting tighter?
Yeah, the voter is much more discerning of what he or she wants, and the parties have to buck up in a particular way.
And it's difficult to read because a lot of exit polls got it wrong.
So I wouldn't go only by the exit polls, because exit polls, yes, of course, the opposition was going on criticizing them. But I want to also say that this is the same opposition that criticized exit polls,
EVMs.
criticized EVMs, criticized everything in the process of a democracy. So the beauty of a democracy is you win some, you lose some. In an exam, you can't get 100 on 100 all the time,
And
right?
focusing on just Maharashtra, I'm sure you're not very happy with the performance of the BJP in Maharashtra.
No, we all aren't. And we're disappointed because somewhere I think the arithmetic also went wrong. But having
What do you
said
mean by
that,
that?
I mean, we thought that three parties fighting together, we would be able to get in a lot more of the vote share. We didn't realize there is a division happening and there is a gross solidification of the Muslims and the Dalits. But the beauty of Bharatiya Janata Party, and ever since I've joined in 20 years, I realize that no challenge is unacceptable. So if you know there is a challenge in Maharashtra, you will start working immediately. Today's the swearing in, tomorrow you will start working, and on ground you will get systems in place. And the Bharatiya Janata Party does have 11 crore active members. So to reach out to every polling booth is not a challenge. It's just to get out the BJP voter, which is.
And do you think this combination of the Shinde, BJP, and Ajit Pawar, uh, is there going to be any change in that? Do you think?
I don't think I'm in a position to answer that question, because the one thing we learn in Bharatiya Janata Party is be disciplined cadre. It is always nation first, party next, individual last, and in that order
Hierarchy.
itself, whatever the leadership decides, the cadre abides by. And I can assure you one thing: we have a very able leader in Devendra Fadnavis, in Eknath Shindeji as chief minister, and Ajit Pawarji, and all three want the development of Maharashtra. So that's why I think there
Do
is
you
a
think it's
bright
right
future.
for him to take responsibility and offering to step down, Devendra Fatnas?
Again, I'm no one to comment on that, but I don't think the party has accepted it, because we do require him and he will lead head on. So I think the days to come will be very interesting, very challenging, but of course, it's a challenge we take on and will deliver in October.
And the Lok Sabha the assembly elections are in October. What are the preparations underway?
So the preparations will start now moment we head back from Delhi, and then focus on our core base. So see, I think if you look at Bharatiya Janata Party, there are four vote banks which have to be consolidated at all points. One is the youth, because they only want development, and that narrative works very well with us. One are the women, who want schemes but also want empowerment, which works very well with us. And one are the farmers, which we very hard, but we continue to work to give better technology, better MSP, make sure that pension schemes, insurance schemes, etc. are in place. And the fourth, of course, is the poor, which the Prime Minister has already empowered 25 crore poor to be elevated from the poverty level, and I hope that that number will go up and up, and the Labharti schemes will
So, what will you
percolate.
do different in Maharashtra now?
So I think that
What will you
three, four
address more?
things.
Yeah.
I think that three, four things. One is the Maratha agitation was a big issue and a big challenge, to reach out to the Marathas to say that this is what our government has already done and we propose to continue to do, and with the same speed. So that's not going to be like a stopgap where you have a certain part of work done and certain part not. There are lots of challenges, because obviously some of them are constitutional. That is very important. Second is the farmer, because the farmer across the state has been given 6,000 rupees directly into the bank account. We have talked about drone didis, so that you can even have women participate in the agriculture sector, pension schemes, insurance schemes. That is a core challenge, and we will work towards that. As an urban person, and since I am a Mumbaikar, it's a matter of pride that we have the metro, the Trans Harbour Link, the coastal road. Like, you should really visit Mumbai, you feel you're in one of the international cities.
But apparently, that's what the narrative is, that this entire idea that the parties were split, families were split, it didn't go down well with the regular Maratha voter. Do you think that impacted your results?
We weren't the ones who split parties. We weren't the party.
But you're being
We
looked
weren't the
at as
ones.
somebody
No,
who's
we weren't even the
instrumental.
ones who split families. It was certain people who were so engrossed in only promoting their family that they let down the people of Maharashtra in that whole narrative. You look at the Shinde Sena. Why did they leave? They left because they felt that Uddhav Thackeray had lost the ideology of Hindutva and the core base, which is that of the Shiv Sena and Adarniya late Balasaheb Thackeray. You look at why they chose to leave, because their leaders were not accessible, they had lots of issues which were internal. When a party chooses to come out in such large numbers and they say that they want to be a part of the NDA and want to support Prime Minister Modi, it's welcome. When Ajit Pawarji realized that he wants to step out with his MLAs, and his MLAs were coaxing him for the longest time because they are regional satraps, they realized that if they're going to assembly elections in 2024, they have to have something to talk about when they go down to the voter. And that can only be the development work of Prime Minister Modi.
How different do you think it is how different do you think the result would be? The assembly elections, and you've just had like a massive uh, defeat in the Lok Sabha elections.
I don't think it's about hard and easy. It's about being consistent in your work. And that's why I say there are three things.
Do you think they're fought on different issues?
No, I think there are just three things that everyone needs to focus on for Maharashtra. One is stability, because nobody wants a rocking boat. Second is good governance and honesty and transparency. And third is able leadership. So if you have that able leader, irrespective of who it is, it sorts out half the problems.
Looking at Mr. Modi, Prime Minister Modi, he's never worked in a coalition before. Everybody's saying Modi 3.0 would be different. What is your take on that? Because you think he'll be able to work in an alliance with TDP and JDU?
I've seen Prime Minister Modi's style of working for the longest time. And I feel the beauty of working under him is that he changes and adopts with different situations and circumstances. What do you mean by that? So, if you mean that there are challenges vis-a-vis an alliance, he will understand that that is something that he needs to address, but at the same time, there will never be a compromise on nation building or the fact that he wants to head towards a Viksit Bharat.
You think he'll be less stronger as a leader?
No.
No?
I don't think he'll be less stronger. I think he'll be softer.
Softer. The opposition, especially the Congress, has got a new spring in their step, and they think that they did really well. And you think there'll be a source of trouble in times to come?
Absolutely not. Where is the consistency vis-a-vis the Congress? I mean, good luck to them. Everyone wants a strong opposition. But you don't just want a shouting opposition, right? You want somebody who raises core issues on vision plans, on specific issues, education, health sector, security, etc. The Congress, if you look at the narrative, even during this election 2024, there were 150 times that they only abused the Prime Minister, used all kinds of language, and I don't even want to get into that and waste time on it. But the fact is, the narrative was destructive, negative, and not constructive. And where they did want to play a victim card, they conveniently turned it into a victim card. Where they did want to use EVMs and exit polls, it was all very well to do so. But look at the results. Post that, there hasn't been a murmuring on the Election Commission or the EVM.
And what about, one of the biggest sources of grief for the BJP has been the loss in Ayodhya. What do you think went wrong there?
So Ayodhya in itself is not a constituency. It's the
Faizabad,
larger Faizabad. Okay. So if you look at Faizabad, yes, we did lose. But we didn't lose from Ayodhya assembly segment. So for all these who are spreading rumors, I would only want to say UP has been a bit of a jhatka. And yes, we will look into it and introspect and go into whatever chintan needs to happen. But more importantly, right now at this juncture, we should be discussing how we're going to rework our coordination between the leaders, the center, the state, and most importantly, the karyakarta. Because without a karyakarta, no matter what you say, you're left at the loggerheads of just an electorate playing up and down. Karyakarta knows who the BJP voter is. Karyakarta knows how to bring them out.
You think there was lack of communication this time?
I think our Sangathan needed to be slightly more cautious.
More cautious.
Yeah.
It's one of the first Lok Sabha formations where there's a lot of women MPs this time.
Actually,
And
less than last time,
less,
sadly.
yes, you've been a big advocate of the women reservation bill. You've been a champion of the cause. Where do you see this result? And you think there's a lot more to be done, a lot more ground to be covered?
So 2019, we were about 14%, and this time, unfortunately, we're around 11%. I have been championing this cause not for myself, but for all women, which includes me. And I really believe that if women come into parliament, there are so many core issues that can be taken on, which are understood only by women. If you look at menstrual hygiene, you look at the need of toilets, you look at the way children are taught sex
The woman voter
education.
really voted for BJP.
The woman voter in some places voted for BJP. In some places, it was not as much as we
As
thought it
solidified,
should
yeah.
be. Because in the past, we've seen they voted en
More.
masse for Prime Minister
Yeah.
Modi. So I think that there are lots of issues which also need to be handled. But at the same time, we can only showcase our talent given an opportunity. To be told that you will get this one seat which nobody else wants is tokenism. That's not what we're interested in. We want to be on that main center table, not as a vase, but sitting on that table in the discussion.
You also helped organize these Jan Sanpark sessions,
Yes.
where an MP
Yeah.
came and talked to the people freely. Do you think these kind of there's a space in politics which only women can do better? In
I would love
solidifying-
to believe
Yeah.
so, but no, the Jan Sampark Abhiyan, there were men and women alike. The reason we did this Vishesh Sampark was that, being in power for 10 years, you can have two attitudes. One is we've been around so long, there's no need for us to really reach out to public. And there's no reason for us to engage in dialogue. We chose to do just the opposite. We said all our leaders must travel through the length and breadth of this country and engage with different communities that have questions and that have suggestions too. So, be it doctors, lawyers, NGOs, chartered
Yeah, I
accountants.
attended one of them. It's a very good mix of people.
Yes. We did have, and in smaller numbers. And the beauty of that is that it was not just, us sermonizing and speaking. It was people
It was
who
a
were
two-way. Yeah, it
asking
was a two-way
questions.
conversation.
Yeah.
And coming back to when you joined politics, you are of mixed lineage,
Breed. Total mixed breed.
lineage yourself. Your mother is a Muslim. Your sister also married a Muslim. If I'm not-
My father is a Rajput,
Rajput, yeah.
from Gondal, Saurashtra. My husband's a Marwari Jain, and I was raised by a Catholic nanny. So I literally have Hindu, Muslim, Jain,
Yeah.
and a Christian, I would say.
So, and apparently he was vocal against the BJP post the Godhra riots. You think
No,
BJP?
I think my father was always a legitimate voice of dissent. He only spoke for people at large. And myself, I was given the opportunity when I was joining the party. My father always said that do what you feel is right and go where you feel. So my father was with
Have you
the
ever felt the
Swatantra
need
Party.
to defend the party for its anti, they are always
No, I was the
perceived as an
biggest,
anti-minority
biggest
party.
proponent for Prime Minister Modi post Godhra. I spoke up for him too because I feel that how much are you going to appease segments of society? You have appeased the Muslims and the Dalits and only made them your vote bank. You haven't empowered them, because if you empowered them, you would give them education, you would give them security, you would give them financial empowerment. That is true progress, which obviously people have not conceded to. When you give a woman a triple talaq, you give her respect and you get her out of the shackles of being at the mercy of some man who comes home and says talaq, talaq, talaq. So I truly believe that the BJP, when we say Hindutva, means justice to all and appeasement
But
to
the
none.
numbers hurt them. So do you think they will change their stance this time around?
But it depends what they change their stance for. We don't want BJP changing its stand when it comes to
UCC, you think?
no, not even that. I think Uniform Civil Code is the need of the hour. CAA is the need of the hour. Abrogation of 370 was and is the need of the hour. Nari Shakti Vandan is the need of the hour. So, every time people have talked about even this Samvidhan Khatre mein, I want to say there have been 106 times that the Constitution has been amended, of which 80 times has been amended by the Congress Party. When the Bharatiya Janata Party has amended, what for? for abrogation of 370, for uniform civil code in the days to come, Nari Shakti Vandan, the list, CAA. These are the core issues. And Prime Minister Modi has celebrated Constitution Day, taken the preamble to all the children of schools, and has said that this largest constitution of the world needs to be protected. So an amendment is completely different from changing.
You think the Muslim voter would ever vote for BJP?
I'm
You think
sure in the
it's-
days to come, because they realize there has been no communal violence in these 10 years. There has been only a gain in their livelihood, be it in terms of what they're earning or what they're studying or what their healthcare facilities. See, when you're giving Ayushman Bharat, for example, 55 crore Indians have got 5 lakh each for their health. Do you dissect and say this is Hindu, this is Muslim? When you're giving 11 crore Ujjwala gas cylinders, you don't say this is Hindu, Muslim. When you're giving a Mudra Bank loan to a woman, you're not bifurcating on caste, creed, community. When you're giving 13 crore toilets under the Sauchalaya scheme, you're not saying this is a Muslim house, this is a Hindu house. When you give Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana to 4 crore Indians, and I'm so glad that the Prime Minister has made sure that the name is that of a woman as the owner of the house, you're not bifurcating on caste, creed. So when he says Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Prayas, Sabka Vishwas, I think that these are not just taglines, this is reality.
And also your own career. You said you've been a successful fashion designer, and still what you still consider it your profession. The audience for a fashion designer and for a politician are very, very different. How do you make the balance?
Totally different. And let me tell you, when I fought my first election in 2004, I was totally dismissed. I lost that election because people said, ये तो साड़ी पहनाती है, इसको राजनीति के बारे में क्या पता. And that one line stuck in my mind. I went on to become the secretary for Mumbai, the spokesperson for Maharashtra, came to the national executive. Then I became the only woman treasurer of the state of Maharashtra for 6 years. And that was a learning and a challenge too. And cut to now this party central role, which has also been a great experience, as has been my being on the board of Prasar Bharati. The reason I'm saying this is not to tom-tom, but to give all those women aspiration, inspiration, because sometimes we're dismissed.
As
and
being
when we are
superficial or
dismissed,
just
not just superficial, dismissed as are ye to kya kar
yeah,
logi.
these
But if
professions
you-
are for women. And
But if
these-
you hold on, and it's not as if Dipti, I haven't had my sets of challenge post 2014 when I stupidly did not fight Lok Sabha elections, and I realized I missed the bus. I went through a manic depression. And I pulled out of it and I hit back. So women can
but you've
do
still
it.
not fought for public office.
I have in 2004.
For
I had
when you
the
lost after that.
opportunity. I had the opportunity
Which is-
in
which you-
2014,
which you didn't
was
take
my
up.
big blunder mistake. And
Are you
when
ready
look
for it
back,
now?
Absolutely, and more.
And coming back to women in politics, what happened with Kangna recently, and she's also somebody who gets a lot of trolling and biasing because she's also coming from a field which is not considered to be intellectual, so to speak. What do you make of that?
So, when there was that comment about her, I really felt bad because who are we to stereotype and say that if a woman comes from the glamour industry, she's not going to be committed to public life or public service? Look at Hema Malini.
Yeah.
She's done such a
She's done
fantastic
very well,
job.
yeah.
And look at some others who I wouldn't want to mention who haven't done a very good job. So judge us on our work and not where we've come from. If you're given an opportunity to serve and you do not serve, then troll. But without her having started, you have started trolling her. I don't think that's fair. And the sad reality, Dipti, is that women don't support women in politics or in public life.
Have you faced that? Being a glamorous
Many
woman in
times.
politics?
Many times. I've faced that many times, and I've actually introspected on it also.
Have you ever felt that you need to tone it down just to be more
But
palatable?
look, I am what I am, and I think people have accepted me for what I am. Party has accepted me for what I am.
Now you
And
don't
I
need to
know
please
my
everyone.
core strengths and my core weaknesses. I'm happy in this organizational space for now, and I will continue to work. But the sad part is that women are character assassinated so conveniently in politics, and you don't have a chance to give your viewpoint or to put your safai, as they say, or to even
Do you think
take
there's still
on that
rooms
challenge.
that they're not like
No, the
allowed to
reality
enter?
is it is a male dominated space. It's a man's club. And as they say in Hindi, Purush Pradhan Mansikta. So that needs to change a little. And I'm confident that Prime Minister Modi has given so many women respect through Triple Talaq or a Nari Shakti Vandan and will continue to do that for all of us women in the space of politics.
Looking at the future, what about your kids? Would they be interested in getting into politics?
So I have a 25-year-old daughter called Shania. She was an investment banker in London and has come back to India to start her own venture. And she's
A
very
startup.
clued on. Yeah, and she's very clued on politically. But you know how it is. Moment you push them, they just hold back.
Yeah.
And I have an 18-year-old son who's
He's young
studying
right
in
now,
London.
yeah.
He's at Charterhouse and now he will go to Tufts in the US. And he's very interested in politics, very clued on.
Do they like the
also.
BJP?
So my son used to joke with me and tell me that, Mom, I want Rahul Gandhi to win so that you leave all of this and come home and are with me and we with me. But obviously they do understand that I like it, and that's why a supportive family. I couldn't have asked for a better husband who supports me for what
Yeah, because
I
it
am
takes a lot of
dreaming
time
of.
and energy.
Yeah, and allows me to be in Delhi for 3
Yeah.
months and says that come back home and you know we're there and we are there for you.
Okay, my last question. Do you think there'll be any surprises in the ministries?
I don't think there'll be surprises. I think there'll be a lot of balance. And that balance is very important because Prime Minister Modi has assured that every segment, section of society is not just covered by tokenism, but also
It's a tough
covered
job.
in
Yeah.
terms of schemes, their aspirations, our vision, etc. So I think history being made,
The third time.
it's so much respect for Prime Minister Modi, actually even for Amit Shah ji, because he has worked so tirelessly as a strategist, as is with Nadda ji and the entire team, our general secretaries. We have Sunil Bansal ji, Vinod Taude ji, Tarun Chugh ji. They've all worked so tirelessly. BL Santosha, organizational secretary. In my own home state, Devendra Fadnavis and others. I think that genuinely, one thing you learn in the BJP is it is work 24/7. And when you have that mindset,
No rest
you
for the
don't
wicked.
you don't fault, and you have dedicated yourself to the country. And that we have learned from our Prime Minister, because look at how he works and travels the length and breadth of the country, the world, and comes back only to be more loved and more looked up to.
Okay. All the best for the upcoming elections.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. And thank you, Statesman, for being a true statesman, because I believe our Prime Minister is a statesman first and a leader next.
If you liked the episode, do not forget to share it, and also like, share, and subscribe to all our social media channels. They're all listed below.